Hello students, in this video lecture you are going to learn avoiding redundancies and repetitions. That means how to avoid redundancies and repetitions. So first of all, why to avoid redundancy or repetition in writing? So in writing, it is important to be concise as possible. See, straight to the point, which means you should eliminate any redundancies, avoid unnecessary repetitions of words, eliminate empty or inflated phrases, and reduce clauses to phrases and phrases to single words so that you know whatever that is written can be easily understood by the reader. So to make it more effective, to make your writing more effective, it is very much important that you follow this technique of avoiding redundant expressions or repetitive expressions in your text. Of course, this is also very important aspect in summarizing a text. Summarizing a text, like when you wanted to make a text shorter than the original one, when you are trying to summarize the original text, this technique of avoiding redundancies and repetitions helps you to make your summary more effective. So eliminate any redundancies. For example, see this, since there is no need to say anything twice, it is important to get rid of any redundancies. So if something is repeated in a sentence, there is no need of that repetitive word or phrase because already one other word is trying to convey the same thing. For example, see here, John was employed and now works for the company Levi Strauss. In this particular sentence, how to concise this sentence by eliminating that redundancy, we'll see here. John now works for the company Levi Strauss. Now works for implies that he was hired. So there is not necessary again this particular phrase like John was employed and now works itself conveys that he was employed. So there is no need of such type of expressions in a sentence. To make your sentence more concise, you can eliminate such expressions which gives the same meaning of what the other words say in the sentence. So this is a kind of example sentence wherein you can focus on this particular two elements, that is was employed, works. So John now works for the company Levi Strauss. There is there is no need to keep such redundant phrases in a sentence. Instead, you can eliminate them to make it more effective. Now see this one. Helen is a smart and intelligent woman. So that two similar synonyms we have used in one single sentence which conveys the same meaning. So there is no need when you want to make it more concise, instead of two same words which gives the same meaning, you can take out one word and you can make it more concise. So when you are trying to make a summary out of the original text, this kind of thing is very much important for you. Like if the two words, two adjectives gives the same meaning, then better avoid, eliminate one particular word which gives the same meaning and make it more concise. Now avoid unnecessary repetition of words. Repeating something twice may bore, and see awkward to a reader. Only in special cases of emphasis should a word be repeated again. When you feel like it's very important, it's a key part that the word has to be repeated, then you can keep that, or else try to avoid that. If there is a more concise way to express the idea, choose it. Like see here, teachers have a responsibility to help students achieve better grades academically. Here, teachers have a responsibility. In this particular place, we can replace this phrase with one single word, should. Okay, have a responsibility. Instead of that, we can convey that in a more concise way by putting one modal verb, that is should. So teachers should help students achieve better grades academically. Achieve better grades means improve their grades, grades in the sense academically only. So improve academically conveys the same thing as achieve better grades academically. So instead of when one phrase is more lengthier And if there is a replacement, a possible replacement in a more concise way, then better choose that more concise way to express the idea instead of using a lengthy or wordy phrases. Okay, and eliminate words that explain the obvious or provide excessive details. There is no need of, when you are trying to make it more concise, there is no need of providing excessive details about that. See here in the example, I received your inquiry that you wrote about tennis rackets yesterday and read it thoroughly is what we do have. See here, I received your inquiry that you wrote about, that you wrote. Inquiry in the self, it itself indicates that what he has written. So there's no need of writing again that you wrote. So I received your inquiry about tennis rackets yesterday and read it thoroughly. Yes, we do have. Read it thoroughly in the sense. Inquiry itself is to read thoroughly. Like, there is no need of putting this phrase. Instead, we can convey the same meaning. Like, I received your inquiry about tennis rackets yesterday. Yes, we do have. So that is enough. Like, to make concise. So if there are words that give excessive details, there is no need of that when the ordinary words are conveying the same thing. Now let us see this. It goes without saying that we are acquainted with your policy on filing tax returns. It goes without saying that we are acquainted with your policy on filing tax returns and we have every intention of complying with the regulations that you have mentioned. Those are excessive information. But you can put it in a very simple way saying that we intend the same thing. We intend to comply with what? The tax return regulations that you have mentioned. So when you are able to convey the same thing with fewer words, exactly what you want to convey, then there is no need to express that by providing excessive details. The same thing, three lines, you can make it in one line and it's very straight, and there is nothing confusion to understand this particular sentence. But when you read this, it takes time to understand what he is trying to tell. So such excessive details or redundant expressions, try to avoid them or eliminate them so that you can make your writing more effective and concise. So next one, imagine a mental picture of someone engaged in an intellectual activity of trying to learn what the rules are for how to play the game of chess. Imagine someone trying to learn the rules of chess. The same thing it is conveying. So, see, a mental picture of someone engaged in the intellectual activity of trying to learn what the rules are for how to play the game of chess. So, instead of lengthy things which doesn't make any sense, instead you can make it more concise with fewer words which conveys the same thing. Eliminate words that explain the obvious or provide the same thing. We are taking more examples. Like we have taken little lengthier text this time. After booking a ticket to Dallas from travel agent, I packed my bags, arranged for a taxi to the airport. Once there, I checked in, went through security, and was ready to board. But problems beyond my control led to a 3-hour delay before takeoff. So he tried to describe each and every step he has done, he has put forward. So let us make it more concise. My flight to Dallas was delayed for 3 hours. Like when you just go to the airport after doing all these things only. And the last thing what you want to exactly focus is 3 hours delay. So we have made it, my flight to Dallas was delayed for 3 hours. So just make it more concise in spite, instead of making the reader more confused of what you are trying to say. Again, a very lengthy text. Baseball, one of our oldest and most popular outdoor summer sports in terms of total attendance at ballparks and viewing on television, has the kind of rhythm of play on the field that alternates between times when players passively wait with no action taking place between the pitches to the batter, and then times when they explode into action as the batter hits a pitch ball to one of the players and the player feels it. This is all a description. Let us make it concise. Baseball, this part what is kept in between the commas is an additional description of the thing. Okay, so you can avoid such additional descriptions. So baseball has a rhythm that alternates between waiting and explosive action. To put it more simple, only these words conveys the whole thing what they have expressed. So make it more concise. Eliminate unnecessary determiners and modifiers. So sometimes what we do is like we just add up one or more extra words or phrases that seem to determine narrowly or to modify the meaning of a noun, but do not actually add to the meaning of the sentence. Those words just modify the noun, or just determine or modify the meaning of the noun, but they won't make anything to the meaning of the sentence. Although such words and phrases can be meaningful in appropriate context, they are often used as a filler and can easily be eliminated. So such words are called as fillers, and of course they won't make any change or they won't bring any difference to the meaning of the sentence by adding or deleting that word. So such words are called as fillers, and you can easily eliminate these fillers if you find in a text. So let us see. Any particular type of dessert is fine with me. Any dessert, any itself is particular type of, like any particular type of dessert. So any dessert is fine with me. So both the things conveys the same thing. By again, like a particular type of this modifier is not needed. And balancing the budget by Friday is an impossibility without some kind of extra help. Balancing the budget by Friday is impossible without extra help, without some kind of, it's not necessary. So, for all intents and purposes, American industrial productivity generally depends on certain factors that are really more psychological in kind than of any given technological aspect. To put it more simple, American industrial productivity depends more on what psychological than on technological factors. So all the unnecessary stuff that is included, when you remove that also it is conveying the same meaning, the sentence is conveying the same meaning, so there is no need of putting all those unnecessary determiners or modifiers in a sentence. So some of the words or phrases like that, you can avoid: kind of, really, definitely, individual, sort of, basically, actually, specific, type, for all intents and purposes, generally, particular. So these things, when you just put that in a sentence or remove that from the sentence, that doesn't make any difference to the meaning of the sentence. So better avoid such modifiers. Now, the other thing what you have to keep in mind is eliminate wordiness. So, watch for the phrases or longer passages that repeat words with similar meanings. Words that do not build on the content of sentences or paragraphs are rarely necessary. So now see this. This is wordy. If you can make it in one sentence, why to make in, uh, you know, uh, if you can make it in one line, why to make it in 5 or 6 lines? We can make it more concise than this. Let us read this. I would appreciate it if you would bring to the attention of your drafting officers the administrator's dislike of long sentences and paragraphs in messages to the field and in other items drafted for her signature or approval, as well as in all correspondence, reports, and studies. Please encourage your section to keep their sentences short. This is all about drafting. So, please encourage your drafting officers to keep sentences and paragraphs in letters, reports, and studies short. Dr. Lomas, the administrator, has mentioned that reports and memos drafted for her approval recently have been wordy and thus time consuming. So, something like, when there is a possibility of reducing the word count and when there is a possibility of expressing the things more clear, you can better change the way you express that. So eliminate that wordiness and try to make it more concise and straight to the point. Omit repetitive wording. So the supply manager considered the correcting typewriter an unneeded luxury. So here the supply manager considered A correcting typewriter, a luxury, unneeded luxury. That's not necessary. Luxury itself, which is like, conveys the same meaning. So you can avoid such word. Like our branch office currently employs 5 tellers. These tellers do an excellent job Monday through Thursday, but cannot keep up with the rush on Friday and Saturday. So how to concise that? Our branch office currently employs 5 tellers. These tellers, instead of that, we can refer with who do an excellent job Monday through Thursday, but cannot keep up with the rush on Friday and Saturday, instead of that with weekend rush. So you can minimize the words and we can avoid that repetitive wording. So these are some pairs, redundant pairs which we come across in our text actually. Past, memories. Memories itself, something like which we remember about the past. So there's no need of putting past before memories. Simply we can say memories. Various differences. Differences, enough. Each individual. Individual is enough. Basic fundamentals. Fundamentals enough. True facts. So true is the word which you can eliminate. Important, essentials. So no need of important. You can keep essentials. Future plans. Plans itself something which we do, which we are trying to do in future. Like terrible tragedy, end result, final outcome, free gift, past history, unexpected surprise, sudden crisis. So all these things, these are redundant pairs, what we call. We just come across lot. So when you come across, you try to avoid one particular thing which is not necessary. So past memories, in the sense you can keep memories and remove the past. So unexpected surprise itself something unexpected. So there is no need of putting unexpected surprise. You can eliminate unexpected. So such things you have to be very careful. And omit redundant categories. Sometimes like specific words imply their general categories. So we usually do not have to state both. So we know that a period is a segment of a time, that pink is a color, that shiny is an appearance. Shiny appearance is a category. Shiny belongs to that category. Pink color is a category. Pink belongs to that category. So such sometimes we come across such, categories also. Large in size. Large itself indicates the size. Heavy in weight. There is no need of this. Heavy. At an early time. Early itself relates to time. Honest in character. Honest itself is a category that belongs to the category, character category. Unusual. Oftentimes. Period in time. Economics field. Economics itself is a field. So extreme in degree, of a bright color. It's bright, that's it. Bright in color. We no need of saying. Round in shape, of cheap quality, in a confused state, of a strange type. So when you just come across such categories, instead of going to the category, you just try to make use of only that particular word. Okay, there is no need of again stating the category of that particular word. That is implied. During that time period, many car buyers preferred cars that were pink in color and shiny in appearance. So here we could find this, like pink in color. Color is the category. Appearance is also the category. So during that period, many car buyers preferred pink, shiny cars. Instead of using the categories here, we just stick on to that particular word. That is enough. So we can avoid such redundancy in that categories. And the microscope revealed a group of organisms that were round in shape and peculiar in nature. So the microscope revealed a group of peculiar round organisms. So this shape is the category and round belongs to that. Peculiar is a category, nature is a category, peculiar belongs to that category. So there is no need of again saying that, mentioning or referring to the category. Instead, you can directly refer to those words. So what are the points that we have to remember under this topic, that is avoiding redundancies and repetitions? To reduce wordiness, it is good to remember the following advice. What is that? Do not use a dependent clause if a phrase will do. So when you can make it more concise, in the place of a clause, if you can use a phrase, it is better to use a phrase. In place of a phrase, if a word can substitute that, better use a word. So minimize the words as far as you can so that you can make it more concise and effective. Straight to the point. By finding opportunities to reduce clauses to phrases and phrases to single words, you'll make your sentences more concise. So why we need to reduce a clause to a phrase or a phrase to a word is to make your sentences more concise. See here, we visited Washington DC, which is the capital of the United States. We visited Washington DC, the capital of the United States, which is not necessary there. So here adjective clause has been reduced to an appositive phrase, the capital of the United States. This particular part is referring to what? Washington DC. So we are referring to Washington DC, and the extension or the extra information about that they have specified here, that is which Washington DC, the capital of United States. So this is called as a positive phrase which tells you more about the noun. So this is an adjective clause. That's adjective clause has been reduced to a positive phrase. So when you are able to minimize the words and reduce the size of the sentence into a clause or clause into a phrase or phrase into a word, better make it so that you can make your writing more concise and more concise and more effective. So that is all about this um, avoiding redundancies and repetitions. Thank you very much.